John, firstly, can you give us an update on fitness, in particular, Kieran Tierney?
Yeah, obviously, we seen he had an issue the other night. Obviously, stretched it off. He's got an issue with his hamstring, and as we speak, he's heading home to be assessed by Arsenal. And that's all I can really see at the moment. They'll obviously give you updates as they have it. But he's obviously extremely disappointed. If we do progress and we move through the tournament, I'm sure he'll be back to support us. But, you know, he's a young lad, he's got plenty of time, and he's got to make sure that it's right for his return.
How big a blow is that for Scotland then?
Yeah, well, it's a blow because he's one of our top players, and, you know, in a tournament football, you need your best players on the park. And in particular with him, he gives that balance down the left-hand side with Andy Robertson and Callum McGregor, and they combine really well. So whenever any team loses their best players, then it will affect the situation. But it also is an opportunity for somebody else to step in. And, you know, we went to the game the other night against Switzerland, and everybody was itching after the performance against Germany. So, you know, there's an opportunity there for somebody to step forward and make a claim for it.
Does it open up the possibility of maybe changing the system, because you have been doing that in some of the friendlies, given that, as you mentioned, how Robertson and Tierney dovetail?
I think Steve's always talked about being flexible, and for a long spell we went with the 3, and then we changed it just before we played Ukraine a few years ago. So we are flexible. We've played 2 different systems already, but again, I'm not going to give a great deal away to the opposition because, you know, that's strictly private. So there is a possibility there. Obviously, we're only 2 days after the game and everybody's recovering. So we've had a really light session this morning. And we'll have good conversations, meetings this afternoon, and then we'll decide on systems, players, who's fit, who's not fit, if there's anybody, who's tired, who's not tired. And I'm assuming everybody there'll be nobody out there who'll be tired because everybody wants to play.
Is that what you've learned from the last Euros between game 2 and 3? Because it seemed at the Croatia game last time that the team seemed a bit jaded with all the effort they put in game 2.
Yeah, but let's not forget the effort we put in the other night, and both physically and emotionally. It was a good night. It was a good way to pay people back, in particular the Tartan Army and the people back home. So it was a good way and a good performance against an extremely good opposition. I mean, and I'm going to diverse a little bit, but we're talking about an opposition, yeah, who's qualified for the last 5 major tournaments. So we knew we were in a difficult group, but we're now sitting here with the opportunity to try and get into the last 16. And getting into the last 16 is extremely difficult as well, because we've never done it before, because it's hard. So we know what's ahead of us against an extremely good team, well organised by the Italian coach. You can see that in their team, but they also have individuals who are very good. So we know we're in for a tough game, but if you had said to us, we still have a chance of qualifying going into the last game, snap your hands off.
John, just following on from that, you got to such a fantastic emotional and physical intensity the other night. How difficult is it to back that up so quickly?
Yeah, sometimes it is difficult, but I think the disappointment from the first game balances it out, I think. And again, we've already talked about, we learned from the experience the previous time, because let's not forget, we went to Wembley, got a 0-0 draw, so the emotions were high. And so we've learned from that, because we went into the Croatia game and we were a little bit flat. So we're hoping that we have learned from that. We'll do things to try and make sure that we're not flat. And like I say, if you think about the reaction of our fans, we've seen it after the game when we got on the bus, driving back to the hotel. The people in the street were incredible. We get back to the hotel and there's a reception waiting for the players, which was amazing. Now, if that can't inspire you, and even if you are tired to go through that next step, then we shouldn't be involved in football. So, you know, we've got things in our favour, but let's not forget we're playing a good team.
On that, Hungary, they've got no points, but they've had really, really impressive passages in both games. What do you see from them that kind of, earns your respect and maybe a little bit of concern too?
Well, let's not forget prior to the tournament as well. I think they lost 1 in 15 games. So that tells you everything about them. But the one thing that jumps off the page and what we've seen is they're a very well-organised team, very difficult to break down and play counter-attack football. But they have some very good individuals as well. And there's a couple that we know from Bournemouth and Liverpool in particular. So we have first-hand experience. We've got Robbo and Ryan Christie who train with them every day. So we'll tap into those guys as well. But this is going to be a difficult game, and they have to win the game. They have to win the game. We have to win the game. So, it should make out for a hopefully entertaining game in our favour.
And just the last one for me. I checked this morning, because I've nothing better to do, with 27 different bookmakers. And the vast majority of them make Hungary favourites for this match. Are you surprised by that? And what do you think of the saying that the bookmakers are never wrong?
Well, first of all, I'm not a gambler, so I couldn't tell you about the bookmakers, who the bookmakers are. But what I will say is, I can see why they've made them favourites. And I've spoke about the record leading into the Euros. They're a good team. They're a very good team. Let's not forget, and I know this for a fact, they beat England home and away, 4-0 at Molineux. Now, for a team to do that, they're a decent team, and we know that. So we have to give them the respect, and I can see why the bookies have got them favourites, and that's fine.
John, you say there that the team must win if they want to progress, but just looking at some of the groups, there could be a chance you could progress with 2 points. With 3 points. Sorry. Yeah. You could progress with 2 points. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah,
I think it's going to be.
Has that been discussed at all?
2 points is. We've not really touched on that. Mm-hmm. We've spoke about we need 4 points for sure. They obviously need 3 points. With the goal difference, but we've not looked at the 2 point situation. So we're going into the game knowing what we have to do, and if we can win the game, that's our priority.
You were saying there about the Croatia game, it was a little bit flat. What are the specific things that you're doing to ensure that it isn't flat this time? Well,
maybe before the Croatia game, we worked them a little bit harder than we should have done. Obviously, we were based at Rockcliffe Hall in Middlesbrough, and we spent a lot of time on our feet. So I think that is one of the things that we've certainly learned from it. But we've got a bigger medical staff with us this time round. So the recovery, the rest and the preparation is more intense. And we feel that that's more important than anything else. We can work in the classroom when we need to. There are other things that I don't really want to go into, but we have learned from it.
Do you feel that there's a mood around the camp, mood around the boys after that positive result against Switzerland, that it's here for the taking now?
Doesn't it? Come on. The whole nation is. I've seen it. I've seen even yesterday when we got up in the morning, there was still people waiting for us. We drove to the airport. There was people going back to the train station. We went past the train station. It was incredible. And if you as a footballer and myself as a coach, when I listen to the Flower of Scotland, right, and I've been involved, and I'm actually getting a little bit emotional here now because I've been involved in some massive games, right? And when that tune came on, it's the loudest I've ever heard. And it brought a lump to my throat. So if that can't inspire these guys after what they did the other night, then, we might get beat because the opposition are better than us. But it won't be for the want of trying, for sure.
You're expecting it to be even louder on Sunday?
I hope so. Because we need them. And they're massive. They're massive for us.
Okay.
Well, we can't hide away from it, can we? Because it's true, it's fact, it's out there. So let's see how the game develops and plays out. But all these guys, if we do it, we'll be the first team to do it, and people remember the team that do it the first time round. So that's what they've got to think about in the back of their heads. These guys have gotten us to this tournament, and we've deserved to be here. And it's been those guys who've put all the work and the effort in to get us where we are. Why can't we go one step further and take it to that next level? Because that's what we want. We all want that. And there's no reason why we can't after what we saw a couple of days ago.
Okay, last couple from the floor.
Yeah, a question from Hungary. May I can ask you for a quick analysis that how do you consider the performance of the Hungarian national team in the Euro? Do the Hungarian national team plays how you expected before the tournament, or do they underperforming in your point of view?
No, I think they've been slightly unfortunate. I saw the second half in particular against Switzerland, where they were on the front foot. They've got an exciting team. They're very, very dangerous at set players, and we know that. And well organised, you know. And they're here because they're good enough to be here. They might be a little bit disappointed with the results, but they still, in the back of their minds, be thinking, we can still qualify for this. So they're not dead and buried. They're not out of the tournament yet. And they'll still have hope from their previous record leading into the tournament because they are surrounded with good players. You know, they have a coach who's experienced, well respected in the game. And you can see that in the way the team play. And they've got guys they can rely on the bench to come in and affect the team. Very similar to ourselves. So, you know, they're not out of it completely. And we know we've got a difficult game.
Could it be an important factor that probably the Scottish players have a better physical condition?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, the game against Germany was slightly earlier than us, so they've had a little bit more time to recover. But, you know, when you're putting massive amounts of effort in, it does take it out of you. So it's how you recover, how you rest and recover to go again.
Okay, last one, Siobhan.
Hi, John. I just wanted to ask about some of the conversations that have been had around Scott McTominay taking set pieces when he is such an attacking threat. Can you explain to us how that came around?
Yes, but I've got to be really careful here because we've got guys from Hungary listening to what I'm saying. So I don't really want to show my hand, if that makes sense. We can have a conversation after the Euros for sure, but I don't want to really go into too much detail about that.
Fair. Thanks.
No, there's only Ryan Jack's a little bit under the weather. So we'll just keep an eye on his situation, but everybody else is fine.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Down this way, John.